Hello, hello everyone. Hello, hello, hello. We're trying again. We're trying again. I've got a screen to my left here, so if I pop up on that screen in a second, it means that we're working out. It's working. Let's have a look. Oh, nothing's coming up right away. Let's just do this and hope for the best. Comment. Oh, hello. I think I'm there. Hello, hello everyone. I was about to say comment if you can hear me. If you can't hear me, or one of the two. Um, I mean, I've never done this before, so you need. I've done live before, but I've never done it this method before, and it can be a bit tricky. But thank you, uh, thank you for everyone who's getting in touch and let me know it's here. Hello, hi Tamara, hi Joshua. Uh, Hello, everyone. Thank you. Right. So, yes, I'm here to do the tier list. Hello, Rachel. I'm here to do the tier list for. Oh, thank you, Ellis. Oh, you're all very helpful. Thank you ever so much. Tier list for the characters of 2022. And hopefully we can get through it without any hitches. Fingers crossed. Hello, Stefan. Hello, James. Thank you to you both for joining us as well. As I say, I've got a screen to my left here so I can see things that are popping up and so on and so forth. Hi Rita, hi Connor. If if throughout it you have any comments you want to make, I might kind of pause every now and then. Uh, hello Rob. Rob's going to heckle from the peanut gallery, so I look forward to his comments throughout. And also we'll see Rob's tier list as well as soon as he gets around his technical problems. See, it's not just me; we're all having them. I just thought I'd do it live because A, it gets it done because I'm a bit lazy, and B, because it means that everyone can have a nice New Year's knowing, safe in their knowledge that I've listed my characters in tier list order. Yeah, comment if you have any comments. I can check for comments on the screen here, and if there's any questions or comments throughout that is interesting, then I will bring them up and I will maybe discuss them with you guys. Hello, Ellis. Thank you for joining us with your spare time. Just like me, got some spare time on my hands before the New Year celebrations. Let us know what you guys are doing for New Year's. Actually, I'll be interested to know what you guys are up to. Not doing anything special this end. Maybe a few milkshakes, perhaps, and bits and pieces. Stuff like that. So, some of you may have seen the tier list card already because it's obviously on the title card. So what I'll do is I'll bring it up. This is where the problems will begin. So first things first. Happy birthday, JJ. Happy birthday. Oh, goodness me. I won't ask your age. Not polite. Not the thing to do. Not very British. So here we go. Actually, oh, that's our Twitter. That's a good start. So let's get that and bring up what we need. So here we go. There we go. So that's the tier maker there, just right there. So that's what we're working off today. And here we go. So what I've got here then is the different categories, and I'll explain them through order. Obviously, it works top being top, bottom being bottom. Better Luck Next Year is a little bit different from maybe what you've seen from a tier list in the past. So top, very top peak is Julia's Theme. If you get Julia's Theme, you cannot be bettered. It's the peak of the mountain. You made it to the top. Well done, you. Second then along is Keeble's Plan. Keeble had a plan. It seemed like a good plan at the time, but not perfect plan. So it's good, but not quite perfect. Then it's Sausage Surprise. If someone serves it in front of me, I'll eat it, but it doesn't mean I want it. Then Cheese and Pickle Sandwich, which is the famous term, as Sharon said, it's very basic. So cheese and pickle sandwich. And then right at the bottom of the tier list there is Alfie's Panto, which, let's be honest, no one's enjoyed and no one had wanted it, so it's there. Now Better Luck Next Year is kind of like, it's at the bottom, but it's not the bottom of the tier. But Better Luck Next Year basically means that the character, I don't think, had a fair chance this year or was given enough to do this year. So we've decided to say, well, maybe better luck next year. Good luck. Have a good one. Hopefully it all goes well for you. Now, this tier list isn't actually exclusive for just me and Rob to use. You can use it too. You can make your own tier list if you want to at any point. Fishy basket is the same as sausage surprise. I eat it. Well, actually, I wouldn't eat it, would I? Well, unless it was a vegan fish. But anyway, the same applies. If you want to make your own tier list, you can if you go to bit.ly/EE tier list 22. That's bit.ly/EE tier list 22. And you can make your own tier list. And if you do make your own tier list, post it to us on our Twitter or our Instagram at Wolford Weekly and share it with us. And we'll share it with everyone who follows us as well. And we will make sure everyone everyone can see your tier list. Now, as every year, my proviso is this is my tier list. This is my opinion. I might be wrong in your eyes. Fair enough. If I am, I don't care. I don't mind. Make your own tier list. Tell me how I'm wrong. Just be kind, because this is my tier list, so this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm thinking about. All right, this is how I put things in order. Yeah, okay, so that's what I'm saying. That's my proviso. Please be kind. And I am drinking coffee, so there may be some nutty outbursts from time to time, and I apologize straight away as well if I'm kind of repeating myself or just talking nonsense. That's just what I do. It's just that when we're doing the podcast, I'm normally curbed in, or I can stop it from happening. So when I'm on my own, it's a bit more frightening. So it's all good. And yes, Rob, I am a vegan. I don't think I've mentioned it in the past, but there you go. So here you go. So you can see we've got all the people at the bottom there, all the cast there at the bottom. There they all are. They have all been on the show more than 10 times, and the actor or actress who plays them is over the age of 17. That's the only kind of rules we've got for this tier list. So there we go. And there you go. CR8T3R. Ben Mitchell will go straight to the top of your tier list. Fair enough. That's it. This is a very much a you thing. You do whatever you want to do. This is okay. So Ben's telling me to get on with it, so I'm going to shut up. So here we go then. Let's get this guy to have a go. So here we go. So we're starting off then. I think this is the right place to start off with Michael Carter. We have Michael Carter there. So obviously he's had quite a big year. He's had the stories with Janine. It was fun to watch, as if you've listened or watched our podcast today that we released today for the Christmas episodes. I really quite enjoyed the Christmas episodes. I know some people maybe like them twice as much, but I thought they were all right. Does Michael Carter deserve Julia's theme because he's like left the show? Controversially, I don't think so, because I feel like that he kind of didn't have the big exit. He had a big exit, but like I don't know, it just didn't. Maybe it didn't feel like a Mick Carter exit for me. I don't know. So I'm going to put him in Keeble's plan. And I'm going to look at those comments in a minute and have people scream at me, and I apologize. This is my tier list. Please be nice to me. Ben Mitchell. Ben had a big story this year, and it was a good story in the sense that it was played out very well. It's just a shame that they kind of didn't wrap it up as well, in my opinion. I have to say that this year with Ben, I have my thing with Ben and Callum, as we all know, and I call it the Ben and Callum, the Ballon merry-go-round. But this year, when they at the end of the year, they kind of reined them in a little bit and made them more about being the relationship, and I quite liked that a bit more. So you saw a gay couple having a nice relationship after obviously the breakdown that they had between them. So he's gone up in my world in estimations. I would say sausage surprise for me. Ben Mitchell was a sausage surprise, and that's not meant as a pun either. And I think that he's good. He's good. I would like to see, and this is the thing, I've got no problem with Ben and Callum as a couple or anything like that. It's just that I feel like they just throw so much angst at them, and I wish that you just have a nice, like what they've got now from like September time. They're just nice stories, kind of having a relationship, seeing a gay couple being portrayed as kind of at a happy, in a good place. And if there's more of that going on, obviously with a few problems along the way, relationships, whatever. But that's what I'd like to see. So that's why Ben is my sausage surprise this year. Denise is married Jack, so that's kind of given her a family, and also she's kind of wrapped around Kim a lot more this year. So I think it's nice to see more of Denise. So I'm going to put Denise in Keeble's Plan, because I do like the character of Denise as well. So maybe there's a bit of bias there for that. I'm going to put her in Keeble's Plan. Um, yeah, that's good. That's good. That's what I'm saying. That's good. That's good. I'm sticking to that. Uh, Kim. I love Kim as well. Kim as a character. I don't like that they kind of. Kim is strongest, and I think I've said this every year on the tier list. Kim is strongest when she's doing really powerful scenes. I like her comedy. I know she's won awards for her comedy, like TV, the soap awards, and so on and so forth. And she is great at portraying comedy. But Tamika is also an excellent actress, and when Kim is in a very serious role, I like that too. And I don't think she's been given that just yet. So I'm going to put her as a sausage surprise. Sorry, I just realised how awful that title is for a tier, and that's where I'm going to put her. That's I think she's a sausage surprise for me. And so yeah, sausage surprise. Karen, see, Karen's a tricky one for me because I don't really remember when Karen does things, and that's not good because she's also kind of like got nothing. I don't know. I feel like she's got nothing left to do on the square. Now Keanu's back. It's nice that she's kind of being involved with that story. But again, she's just kind of on the sideline every now and then, kind of battling for her son, just adding a few remarks here and there. I'd like to see her do more next year concerning if Keanu does stay, but also with Baby Albie, whether she wants more involvement with Baby Albie, because she doesn't seem to do a lot around that either. And she, you have to remember that there is that relationship there. So I'm going to put Karen as the first Better Luck next year because I would like to see more of Karen. I like the character. I just don't remember her. She's not been memorable for me. Nancy left this year. Unfortunately, after she got scammed by Janine. I didn't like her turn when she just turned really nasty toward Frankie. I don't know if it was really the right thing for her character. So that really troubled me. But when she left, she kind of made up with Frankie, and it was all nice and sweet and all that. So she's a sausage surprise. She was good. I'd like to see her back, and I'd like to see if she does come back to do more. But for now, she was on her exit. She was a sausage surprise. Jean, I mean, I'd love Jean as a character anyway. I've always championed Jean as a character. I really liked her this year. I really quite liked the carnival stuff when she went to the beach and was having those hallucinations. And again, I think, and that probably surprised a lot of people because it was a special effects, but it was because it was done in that kind of way. It made sense. It wasn't just kind of thrown in for the sake of it. It made sense, kind of the way the mindset Jean was, and then that kind of climax with her in the sea, and she was, about to drown herself. And then when she went back to the caravan, it was nice to see her having those scenes with Big Mo. And now she's getting together with Harvey as well. I love Jean. I'd like to see more of Jean. And she's one of my favorite characters as well. So I'm going to put Jean in Keeble's. Oh, is that too much? No, Keeble's Plan. Jean is thrown up into Keeble's Plan, and that's where she stays. Zach. I love Zach as a character. I want them to do more with him. It's interesting they've given him a child with Whitney. God help him, because we know that Whitney has a history with men. Not her fault. I'd like to make that clear. I just, it's just what it is. Zach, I like Zach as a character, and I think he's got a lot coming next year. I liked his stuff with Nancy as well. I'm going to put him in Keeble's Plan. Keeble's Plan. And I know a lot of people will probably agree with putting him as Julius theme just for his body alone. And he's a good looking lad, but for his character as well, yeah, totally. Keeble's Plan, 100%. I see who's next. And again, one of my absolute 100% favorite characters, Suki. I love the Panasars. I'm so glad they're building up the Panasars. The Panasars will always be the top tiers for me. I love the Panasars so very, very much. And I love the stories that they're getting involved with. And I just want to see more of them. Close to Julius. I do love a Suki. I love a Suki. She's going there. Suki is going into my Julia's theme. She's just brilliant. I just love everything. I love everything she's doing with Eve. I love everything she's doing with Nish. I love everything she's doing with Ravi. I love the scenes that she had with Karat. I love the scene she's having with Ash. I love the scene she has with Vinny. I just love every scene every scene she is in. I enjoy and I love watching her in, and I get very excited when I see that there's a week of episodes when it's going to be Suki, and you know, kind of the universe, and I just want to see it, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Frankie. I really loved Frankie, but they didn't really do much with Frankie. You know, even when she was, you know, even at the beginning, she had the big story when we found out it was mixed son, mixed daughter. That would have been a twist, and then she kind of then was a bit of a background fodder. She had that photograph that she took of Janine. She didn't realize what the photograph was, and then she had the teacher storyline when she was the teacher's assistant, and she was getting kind of made fun of, and her students get made fun of. And then she moved up to Scotland. Still not seen her up here, by the way. But I did love Frankie, and I wish they did more. The actress is not. I don't think is going to come back anytime soon, and she was. So I don't think she's better luck next year. I'm going to give her Keeble's plan, same as Mick. In fact, I'm going to put her next to Mick. I'm going to put her next to Mick because I think they both left together really well. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold, and she was fine. I liked her. I loved Frankie. I really did like Frankie. Now, Isaac, and I'm going to be controversial here, was never a character that grew on me, even throughout his like main story. And then he left, leaving Lola on her Todd, and then ending up having a relationship with someone abroad and kind of just dumping her. And as a character, that will never do because poor old Lola didn't deserve that. So Isaac for me is Alfie's Panto, and because he was just horrible, and he's not someone I would be excited if they said like, oh, I really want him back. I wouldn't be too excited for him to come back. Hi Marcus, I've just seen you said hello from Germany. Hi Marcus, hello, how are you? Thank you everyone, by the way, for your comments. Like I say, just let us know what you've been thinking, and you know, and if you have any questions, I may pause and read out some comments in a bit, but we're going to chug along because otherwise this video is going to be about 5 hours long. Sharon, I mean, it's Sharon. Sharon is adorable. I love Sharon. Sharon is an icon, and she's just perfect, and she is stunning. I mean, she's just glowing all the time. I love her involvement. I don't like the fact that she's hooked up on Blewin Phil still. I just wish she'd get over that. And I wish she'd go on those dates that Linda keeps getting her. Like those men that she's going on those dates with, are just like compared to Phil, they are like an upgrade of 1,000%. Like Phil, I know there's no love like a Mitchell love, but my goodness, Sharon, I could probably try with those men that you were with. So with the few mistakes this year with Sharon, I hope she's like I say again with Karen, with Keanu, with Zach now becoming a father. I hope there's more kind of family orientated stories like that with her coming up. But I can't really put her any higher than a sausage surprise this year, because she made the fatal error of deciding that she loved Phil, and that's not good. And so she needs to learn that as soon as she finds herself a nice man, a nice fireman, maybe another fireman, then she can go up to the dizzying heights of Julia's theme. And that's how things are. Chelsea had a tricky beginning, just like the show, if you think about it, of 2022. Had a tricky start, a good middle, and a fantastic end. And that's, I think you can describe Chelsea in the sense that she had a tricky start. She had a good scene. She had great scenes with Gray when she got married, and her baby was premature, and the realization of the Gray reveal and so on and so forth. And since then, she's kind of had the money problems. She's living in that enormous house on her own, or initially on her own, but now she's got flatmates, Felix Finley and Whitney. I'd like to see more. I'll tell you what she is. She's a better luck next year for me, because I'd like to see more story from her, and I look forward to seeing more story from her. Lola has got a big story, not a terrific story, a big story since the end of this year, and she's playing it. The actress is playing it a blinder. A character has made, my opinion of her has gone 180, because Lola I've just kind of not really had a lot of time for. I've kind of just thought, nah, she's there, fair enough, fine, whatever. But it's a really interesting arc she's taken. So I'm putting her as a Keeble's plan because I love her now, and I think it's so sad what they're doing to her character, but it's fine. It's interesting. It's an interesting story, and I really looking forward to seeing the end of that. In the kindest possible terms. Jack Branning. Jack Branning is very much a one tone. Like he just gets angry and then remorseful. But with his daughter Amy, I thought he played that very well. I loved the fact that he was very confused. He didn't know the right to. If it was anything else, if it was like working the police, he knew that you kind of arrest someone, question someone, get them. That's that. It's a very plain plan of how things are done, very regimented. Dum 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 dum. But with Amy, she's kind of got this this illness where it's not as simple as black and white, and so it needs to have lots of different ways of approaching it, and he cannot approach it. And I liked the way that Jack's being portrayed for that. So for me, I'm going to put him as Keeble's plan because he was good. I did enjoy him. I just wish he'd been a bit less and a bit more. But I suppose that's not Jack, is it? That's the way he is. Who we got next then? Keegan. It's a shame he left, but it made sense that he left. Tiff came back for his exit. He's by no means basic, but like it was kind of like very much a wrapping up story for him as he was leaving. So I put him as a sausage surprise, and that's where he'll go. Callum had a lot less scenes than Ben this year. Obviously, Ben had that bigger story, and he pushed Callum away. But I was surprised when I was reading like how many episodes, and like moments on screen, the disparity between them was. I can't remember really, other than being a comfort blanket, Callum doing much this year. So I feel like he was quite basic this year and not much really happened. So it's as lovely as he is as a character. And this is meant with the attachment of, I hope that Ben and Callum's relationship is explored more next year. I'm putting him as a cheese and pickle sandwich. A little bit basic this year, but that doesn't mean you can't add more to that sandwich to make him much more exciting next year. And again, I just want to put the proviso on the warning on right now, the advisory right now, that this is my tier list. I'm not a gatekeeper. I'm probably very wrong. Don't worry about it. I'm fine with that. Just let me know by making your own tier list. bit.ly/EE tier list 22. Okay, that's good. Loving it. Right. Well, funny, I've just got to Dottie, Harriet. Harriet's just politely asked me if I could put her in a good place. She didn't have a lot to do, and when she did have things, with very short stories with Dottie, her exit was reminiscent for me of Punk Mary, the kind of like getting on the bus, sticking your middle finger off as you drive away. So I just thought it was such a shame because they could have done so much with Dottie, which makes me want to hope that she will come back next year and they will do more with Dottie. So I think that's, she's not going to come back next year, is she? So I can't put her as better than that next year, can I? She was very basic. I'm sorry, Harriet. I'm sorry, Harriet. I feel like she wasn't that exciting. But that's not that I didn't want Dottie to be more exciting. I wanted her to be more exciting. And if I knew for certain she was coming back next year, I would put her straight into that. You know what? Good year. Next year is going to be 2023, Dottie's year. But it's not going to be next year, is it? So I think she's a cheese and pickle sandwich. And I'm sorry. I'm going to put her as a cheese and pickle. I'm sorry. Luckily, though, we've got Kirat here now, and we can talk lovely gushing things. The one thing I would say is I'm really disappointed is that he's left. And I feel like that the writers had plans for him to be much more involved in the future for the Panasar story. That's not to say I don't think he won't come back. I get that the actor had things to do outside the show that he wanted to explore, which is perfectly sensible, perfectly understandable. But while he was on the show, I loved it. I loved his investigations. I loved that he was trying to find out information between Dr. Nina and Nish and Ravi, and find out this, that, and the other. And then he stood up for his mum and kind of went away gracefully to be arrested to go to prison for the crime that his mum had committed. So like I say, Panasar's almost automatically have an automatic pass to be in the top two, and he's going up there as well to Julia's theme for me. And plus, yes, and before people start commenting it, I also think that he's a gorgeous guy, so he gets a pass for that as well. But no, suffice that it's just yes, correct, basically 100% brilliant, perfect. Patrick was a pleasant surprise this year. I loved. We talked about his role as a kind of like a grandfather figure to not Harry. I want to say Harry, and I don't know why I want to say Harry. Denzel, to Denzel, and it's lovely to see that kind of, I love to see that. I love the relation. I love the family being built up as well in that house. It's Kim, Denise, Jack, Amy, Denzel, Howie, Patrick. You know, they're all in that house together, and it's really nice to have that dynamic. So I really have enjoyed Patrick this year with his little advice. So he's not been a take it or leave it character for me. Whenever he's been on screen, he's always been one that I've liked seeing on screen. So I'm putting him up there with Keeble's Plan. So there. Billy's another surprise. I probably, if you've listened to the podcast for a while, Billy's always been a character that I've always thought, why is he there? He's kind of just been a bit of a spare part. There's not been much point to him. Why is he still there? And you know, again, my opinion's changed somewhat. So he's not quite Keeble's Plan yet for me, though. He's a sausage surprise. Like I will take him, and I look forward to what he's got ahead. But I don't. He's not quite up there yet. He's still a character I put like the last two tier lists. I would have put him as the bottom, Alfie's Panto. But he's going up in my estimations. Bobby, if you think about it, he automatically goes into almost a cheese and pickle sandwich because he's been quite basic. And that's a huge shame. So I'm not going to put him in cheese and pickle sandwich. I'm going to put him as better luck next year. And I'm hoping that him and Freddie might have a few kind of exciting stories together. Like, why don't they do like a story when all the young'uns, oh goodness me, the younger people go to like Brighton or Blackpool like they used to in the old days, you know, they could all go on a nice little trip, hire out a minibus, do a week of them all going away, them all exploring their lives, you know, what they want to be. You know, Freddie can say 100 times, exclaim that he likes girls and dress up in, you know, some kind of weird shell suit or something like that with Bobby. And that's what I want to see. And so next year I want to see lots more of Bobby, and I look forward to that. Martin is, I can't remember what Martin's done this year. And maybe I'm just being a bit nonsense. But I genuinely don't remember what Martin's done this year, other than kind of being very supportive. So I feel like I can't judge him, but I can wish him a good year next year. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to plop him there. The Bills are going into the Bills and the Fowlers are going into the better luck next year. So one that can't go into better luck this year, though, is Peterbilt. He was useless, wasn't he, from beginning to end, and he was just annoying. And I hated the way he exited as well. He gave Bobby like an arm burn as he left, and it's like, oh, come on, you idiot! You're the one who did it to yourself. And I know we're going back to last year, but he cried because he wanted painkillers from Ash, and that was just ridiculous as well. Yeah, he left without he left like a wet fart. He just left, and no one really cared. So he's Alfie's Panto. I don't miss him when he left. I just thought, oh well, that's another one. Maybe we can use some better characters, and they did. So we're better off without him. Sonia's had quite a triumphant year, hasn't she? She's continued to sponge off elderly people that she's cared for, and now got herself a house and millions of pounds. And she's got herself a new boyfriend, Reese. I love Reese, by the way. If Reese was in more than 10 episodes, I think he was in 4 total. But next year, 2023, I hope he's in loads of episodes. He will be, really, but I hope he's in loads and loads and loads of episodes next year. And I love the dynamic between Reese and Sonia, and I hope, please don't make Reese be a wrong un. Keep Reese as a nice guy. I love him, and I want to learn more about the way, like, his nervousness, and his trumpet playing, his trombone, and I want to see them doing like a duet and this and the other. So Sonia spiritually, for me, is a sausage surprise, because other than like the end of the year, it's not really. But I also mentioned that Natalie Cassidy is an amazing actress, so please do more with her, because like during Dot's funeral week, she was outstanding, and I loved all of her scenes. So that's why I'm spiritually sort of surprised, but actually she's going into Better Luck Next Year because she is going to have a blinder of a year with Reese, and there's going to be loads of really exciting storylines. I cannot wait, and they're going to be fantastic. Rainy's another character that, if you listen to the podcast, yes, Young'uns Rob, that I absolutely adore. I love Rainy so very much. And I was sad to see that they were writing her out along with Stuart. It makes sense now. At the time, I was kind of very confused by it, but it makes sense now seeing the direction that Clenners is taking the show. So I understand why he kind of took them out of the mix of characters now. It does make sense, so I get it. But I still loved Rainey, and I loved her stories, and I loved her support with Stuart. So Rainey will always be, for me, a Keeble's plan. And I want her to come back and be blinding as always. And the same as Stuart, actually. I might as well just kind of almost bundle them together. I loved his stories. I know that a lot of people were a bit like, ugh. But it made sense for Stuart to be kind of like this very masculine man, and then, you know, having two kind of illnesses that kind of linked more toward the female, you know, female, you know, breast cancer and postnatal depression. Postnatal depression. I told you, this is when the nuts begins. I've had a sip of coffee. So Stuart's going to go to Keeble's plan as well, and I love them both. And if they were to return, I'd love that. But I do get it. I think in the current state of the show right now, it doesn't make sense to have them in the show right now, just because the show feels like it's like when you shake your bed sheets in the morning just to make them fresh again. And that's what's happened since September, October time. Chris Clenchall went into the EastEnders bedroom and shook off those bed sheets and made a nice fresh start, ready for his tenure. And I don't think they quite fitted in with his plan, so that makes sense now. Honey's been good. Honey's had some really fabulous scenes actually with Phil when she got angry because Billy got arrested, and her support with Billy. Again, I was so pissed off that thinking like, oh, Billy and Honey are getting back together again. Oh, here we go. Let's do this again, shall we? But actually, it makes sense in the context of what's happening to Billy right now. So I do like Honey. I like Honey anyway, to be fair. I think she could go with Billy actually as a sausage surprise. I think they're both in the same kind of ilk right now, so I'll stick them together. So we'll do that. Jay. So I'm just reading your comments. Thank you ever so much, everyone who's getting in touch. So yes, thank you ever so much. Jay, I love Jay. Again, Jay's a great character. He is very, very supportive of Lola. I'm looking at the categories. I don't know whether he's quite Keeble's plan. I mean, no, he's had that lovely. He's had that scene where he gave Lola that hope, and then unfortunately that hope was pulled out from underneath them, like under the carpet. Yeah, I mean, again, I think if I put them next to Lola, it makes sense that they are together as Keeble's plan. I'm going to be devastated when the Lola's final scenes happen. I just know that I'm going to be absolutely torn, and it's going to be awful. So yeah, they're going to be great, but I'm not looking forward to them really. It's going to be very sad. Bernie, last year I put you as Better Luck Next Year, and you did nothing. If I put you in Better Luck Next Year again this year, are you going to do anything? Are you, Bernie? You better. I'm putting you in Better Luck Next year. You've just done nothing. Why would they do anything with Bernie? I don't understand. Oh, so she had that scene when she was in the doctor's room and Stuart was shouting at her. And again, the actress was fantastic. So you can do stuff with Bernie. Next year. Oh, Mitch. I mean, Mitch is Marmite with me. Sometimes I love him, sometimes I hate him. I like him more than I used to. Mainly with the Grey bar part when they had that fantastic scene on the bridge. And Gray's like wants him to drop him, and Mitch is like, nah, you're not getting away with that easily, and pulls him back up into the bridge so he can have, you know, his day in court. I liked that. He's not basic Mitch. I think that's unfair after his this year. I would say he's a sausage surprise because he's all right, isn't he? And also it's nice to see him now. You know, his brother Avery came and went, and that was fun too. So. Yeah, Mitch, you're a sausage. You're a surprise to my sausage. Shirley, I can't believe Shirley left. Quite a shock of that. But then I suppose not that surprising because all the cards were dropping off one by one, weren't they? No pun intended. Shirley it was good. I loved her, again, her sleuthing to find out more information about Janine. And I loved her scenes with Scarlett as well when she's painting her nails. I mean, that's what comes to mind immediately. But throughout, Shirley's always been kind of like a very, whenever Shirley comes into a scene, it's kind of, you can have you feel safe that you're going to have a kind of like a fun moment there, and that's good. And I like that they had that character there. It is a shame that Shirley's got no one. She had Jean, didn't she? But Jean doesn't really replace really Heather, does she? As a kind of like a good relationship between them. I like Shirley, but I don't think she's quite Keeble's plan. I'm going to put her as a sausage surprise, but that's meant with all the love in the world, peace and love. Rocky. I mean, the thing is that Rocky has elevated slightly with me because we'll come to it in a moment, but I dislike another character who's very similar to him. So because of that, I quite like Rocky more. So Rocky has gone up. I wouldn't say he was basic, but I wouldn't say he's worthy of anything higher than Sausage Surprise. I like his relationship with Kathy. That's also good. So I like that too. So yeah, win-win with old Rocky. Phil. I mean, when he's on the screen, he's just huffing and puffing and going every 5 seconds. And I know that's part of the charm. And I know that a lot of people say, well, if there's no Phil, there's no EastEnders. And I think that's a shame in a weird way, because I feel like that the show does survive without Phil being there. He again elevated because another character he dislikes, and I'm well on board with him on that one. His relationship with Kat is fine. He's grown on me somewhat. I don't like that he feels like Sharon is his possession that he can have at any point. That she's always at that kind of arm's length for him. He's not basic. I mean, he's a sausage surprise. Old Phil. He looks a bit like a sausage, like the top of a sausage, doesn't he? With the kind of bit that curls around. That's our Phil. Vinny, Broken Vinny has done me this year. Like Vinny, happy Vinny, fix your phone, Vinny, kind of happy chap Vinny. That's fine. I'll go with that. But Broken Vinny is like a whole new standard. I love Broken Vinny, so keep Broken Vinny going, and I'm on board 100%. I mean, Vinny is brilliant. He's not had a lot of involvement, though, unfortunately, with the Panasar story. But I do love him being there. And the same with Ash. In fact, I'm going to bundle them together. Ash came back, and at first I was a bit like, but then afterwards I thought, So, and we haven't got Broken Ash yet. But I love the kind of like Ash supports Vinny, and when Vinny broke up with Dottie, because Dottie was so vicious to him as well. So, I love them both. They're both sausage surprises. There we go. Pop. Oh dear, I'm gonna have to move this up. And yeah, I think that's a fair place to put them as well. I just want more Broken Vinny. Broken Vinny, 100% spot on. More Broken Vinny. I just love him. With his hair all dishevelled and slightly greasy. Oh, brilliant. Love him. He's looking after his phone shop, by the way. No one knows. No one will ever know. All right, Vi. What is the point of Vi? Honestly, I'm sorry, but what is the point of Vi? Please comment. Tell me what the point of Vi is, and I may change my opinion to basic from Alfie's Panto. I just don't see what she's contributing to the show. I don't know. Maybe I'm just. Stacey. See, Stacey for me is what a lot of people maybe see as Phil Mitchell's part of the show is. I can't imagine EastEnders without Stacey. And that's good and bad for Stacey, because in some ways it means that she kind of is there and like she's just kind of hanging around, which she does. But like in a weird way, she kind of gets involved, like with the Eve story and the Suki story and her relationship with Kirat. I loved her relationship with Kirat, and it's a shame that they've had to split that up together. But the aftermath of that was really nice as well. The kind of realistic, like how the children felt and reflected about it as well. I love Stacey. Like I say, I'd like Stacey being there. I mean, she's not elevated to any high height. She's not had a story big enough to do that this year, but she's certainly been good enough to say she's Keeble's plan. So there, I do. I like Stacey. I do like Stacey as a character, and I like her. She just works whenever she's put together with someone. She just seems to work, and it's good. I think it's good for the show. It works nicely in that respect. Um, right after Stacey, we have Dana. Dana went off to Scotland. I mean, it's after the whole. I mean, there's the kind of well documented fallout of the fact that there was meant to be maybe another storyline to what actually ended up being the storyline with the gas leak in the Argy Bargy. And after that, and after her kind of like breakup with Peter, sorry, she slept with Peter and she broke up with Bobby, and she just became like almost a very unlikable character all of a sudden, which was a real kind of weird thing they did with her. And I don't know why they did that with her. So I feel like she was a bit basic this year, so and I don't think she's coming back anytime soon. But that's a shame because I think last year I thought that Dana had a lot going for her, and I think it's such a shame that she's now she left as this kind of this basic part of the show. It just kind of it was a real shame, but she might come back. I mean, Harvey did visit her. She's been still gets mentioned. She gets mentioned more than her brother right now, so yeah, never know. One day. Janine had a real tornado jump, didn't she? She came into the show and we were all a bit like, oh, okay. Maybe this was a desperate move by perhaps an executive producer to try to get some clout, but it's not really worked out very well for them. And then I think the best thing she did was then say, you know what, I don't want to be on the show much longer. And so then they suddenly rustled up this fantastic story for her with Mick, and all the Carters, and so then it kind of got really exciting for her. And then you saw Janine. So by the end of the year, I really enjoyed Janine. It just took us a long time to get there, and I'm quite happy to admit that perhaps I went in hoping and that they were going to bring Janine in and she was going to be instantly at 11 and be fantastic, and it didn't happen. But she had a good exit and she had a good end, and I love the fact that she was just so horrible to her daughter. Poor Scarlett. I loved her. So she was a Keeble's plan by the time she left the show, and I think that's fair. That's fair. Harvey, I mean, there's something when she did that catfish story, I thought, there's potential here. A lonely old man, God, it's not a lonely guy on his own in his flat. They could do a storyline of kind of like where it feels like that no one's in it, but then he's got the community around him, but he doesn't feel like he's got it. Perhaps a kind of like anxious ridden kind of guy. But then we know they're hooking him up together with Jean. So I feel like he's got a good year next year with Jean. I mean, he had that really good story actually with Jean when he was trying to look after Jean, and he saw, because we still don't know the information about his ex-wife. We still don't have enough. We still don't really know a lot about him. So you know what? He's a sausage surprise, and he'll like that because that's Jean's favorite dish. And I think that he could shoot. There's more. We just want to learn more about his backstory, and he's been on it for over a year now. And I feel like we've not learned. I mean, we know more about him than we do about Vi. But then we don't actually. Vi had that storyline where she's got that illegitimate son or whatever. But again, forgotten. No one cares. Better luck next time. Aaron kind of left a bit sad as well, really. I mean, it was a weird story, wasn't it? Not one I disliked, but it was a strange story, and it wasn't really allowed to take its natural finale, I presume. And then he was getting beaten up in jail. I mean, I'm sorry, but he was basic, and it's a shame that he was basic because again, him and Dana could have been a whole lot more. And I would happily bring back them both and have that family unit again, the Monroes. I'd like that. That wouldn't be a problem at all. Oh, I've just seen his next. Oh my goodness me. Oh, this is an easy one for me. Alfie can go into his own panto. He has just been awful since his return, trying to convince a woman to kiss him in front of a crowd of people. But not just that, he has those awful, awful scenes where he's kind of doing his jokey scenes in the market, his jokey scenes in the cafe, in the pub, making jokes. And I'm terrified he's going to end up getting the Vic. And I'm just hoping that if he does get the Vic, it will be the making of Alfie's character, the one that we were promised was coming back. Because at the moment, I don't see that. But we're getting on to classic EastEnders, and I'm going to see what Alfie was like on the drama channel. I'm going to see what Alfie was like on those classic episodes and look back and think like, oh no, actually he was always like that. It's just that in those days it wasn't quite so bad, and now it's quite intolerable. But yeah, there you go. That's our Alfie. Amy, I think the self-harm storyline is brilliant. When I think brilliant, I mean it's been done well, and I'm glad that they're portraying it. And the actress playing it is just wonderful. I love Amy. I want to see a lot more of Amy with Denzel. I'm going to put them under Keeble's plan because I actually genuinely like them both, especially as quite a surprise for me as well. With Denzel, because when Denzel was first introduced, I wasn't too keen on him. I kind of didn't understand what his purpose was, but the Amy and Denzel together, I like that. I like that young relationship that's growing. She's using him as a support. Perhaps in next year he'll need to do so. It does remind me of Tiff and Keegan a little bit. And so, you know, and you know me, I like young people in debt. So maybe that's the direction they're going. Let's just see. Kat, I mean, Kat's kind of just tied to Phil, isn't she, really? Let's be honest with you. I mean, it really, Kat's stories are basically the looking after and mopping up the mess that Phil leaves behind when he goes off on one of his 3-month stint holidays, you know, to do panto in real life or whatever. So, which is a shame because Kat never used to be that kind of character. So I'm gonna have to put him as a sausage surprise. I'm afraid. I'm sorry. Oh dear. Right. Eve. I love Eve. Eve. I love Eve a lot. I love Eve's story with Suki. I love Eve's friendship with Stacey and Jean. And all the Slaters. I really do like Eve. And it's been a real pleasant surprise of an introduction of a character. And it's one of those that I got the impression that she was only ever meant to be there for like a couple of months. The audience kind of liked her. And as the writers and storytellers have been able to kind of get their claws into her and kind of rip her apart a little bit more and learn more about her, which they've not done with Harvey, is my point. They've been able to grow her in a very natural way into the character she's become. I love Eve a lot. Is she Julia's theme? I do love Eve. Yeah, she's Julia's theme for me. I really love Eve. I love Eve. But perhaps because she's attached to Suki, maybe. I don't know. But no, I do love Eve. She's good. Another character that's kind of like been introduced this year and hasn't quite found his footing. But I do like his friendship with Bobby. And I did say that I hope that him and Freddie and Bobby have this kind of like big year next year. So they're both going to go in the Better Lux next year. I'll put them together. Might as well. And yeah, I'd like to see a storyline with them both kind of going away, going up, having a lads holiday. They can have a lads holiday. I mean, they go clubbing together. There's no reason why they can't have a lads holidays. Lads. Howie, I like Howie actually, and I like that Kim's found herself a man. I don't understand what route he does on his postman journey, because he's always in the square, and there's like what 10 houses in that square, and like it takes him all day to do that. I mean, good for him. Like he's found a way of getting a nice little easy little job at the Royal Mail. Yeah, I like Howie. He's fine. Again, I think he goes with Kim, doesn't he? They're kind of, with couples sometimes they go together, don't they? They're kind of one mold. So in this opinion, I'd say, yeah, let's put them together. I'm up for that. Jada, I liked Jada a lot, despite her dancing on TikTok. I liked her a lot, and I really was so excited and pleased to see her come back at Christmas. I was really disappointed that she wasn't in it more. And I think it makes sense for her to come back, as I was just saying earlier, with Zach and Sharon, this kind of family unit, Martin as well, with this kind of family unit they're building in that house. It makes sense to have Jada back with Alyssa. And it surprises me that Sharon's kind of let her go quite so easily. So I'm going to put her Better Luck next year, because I'm hoping, with all my fingers and toes crossed, that she will be back next year. And I look forward to seeing her back next year. And I'd like to see what she gets up to. So yeah, that's where she's going for me. Keno, Kay, whatever you want to call him, he's back. Yeah, I mean, he came back with a bang. He came back with a big story. He's playing tricks with Keeble for Phil. literally of the last episode of the year, Phil's double crossed him, and now he's told him to leave the square before New Year's Eve, 12 midnight. I'm hoping we're not going to have a stabbing in the square again, like Phil kind of poor old Sharon had that time of Keanu. I'm sure we won't. But to me, he's like not done anything. Not really done anything else. It feels a bit basic, but I feel it's unfair to put him as basic. So I'll put him as a sausage surprise because I know a lot of people are very excited to see him back as well. So yay for him. Yay for Keanu. Keanu's keyboard plan. Mr. Lister, the market inspector, he was in more than 10 episodes this year, so he had to be included. I love Mr. Lister. I love it when it was nice to see him. It's been years since we've had a throwback and we've remembered Mr. Lister. So it was nice to see him back. I mean, you can't really put him anything higher than basic, let's be honest with you. I mean, he's better than Alfie's Panto, and so he's basic, but I love him for it, and good for him, and yay. I tell you what, the camp queen, Dr. Nina, I adored her. I don't care I know a few people said she was a bit over the top. She was a bit kind of American 80s, shoulder pads, kind of, acting for the role. You know what? I loved it. I loved every bloody minute of it. I really did. I loved Dr. Nina. I really did, to the point that I actually think she's Keeble's plan. I loved her. She was so evil, and I want to see her back so much. So Dr. Nina is in Keeble's plan, and I hope she comes back. I really do. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Nish Panesar is a very welcome introduction. We've been hearing about Daddy Panesar since they came to the show, about why he was imprisoned and the mysteriousness of it. Suki being a bit frightened of him. He's just brilliant. He's come in fantastic, all guns blazing. He's not quite peaked yet for me. I think we just need to get a bit more information about him, but for what we know about him, I cannot wait to learn more. So he is Keeble's plan 100%, and I cannot wait. 2023 has to be now the year of the Panesars. Has to be. I want back-to-back Panesars. That's what I want. Every single story Panesars. Just fire the rest of them, bar Sharon, and keep the Panesars in. That's what I want to see. Ravi, also a real lovely, pleasant surprise. A character that we didn't expect would be coming in, did come in. Part of the Panesar family, the illegitimate son of Nish. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I love his relationship with his son Nugget. And I loved his relationship with Ranveer, who he believed was his father, but didn't really know was his father. They're called, covering up for the murder for Suki. They still have, no, they don't still have that videotape, do they? But they're brilliant. And this is what I mean. I can talk whack lyrical all the time about the Panesar storyline, family, and all the characters. I love them so very much. 100%. Easy decision. Keeble's plan. Yeah, look at it. It's just a beautiful sight to see all the Panesars up there in the top 2 tiers. Fantastic. Linda next. Linda, I still fail to see what they're going to do with Linda next year. But that's not for me to say this year. Lovely stories. She's done well. I liked the kind of full circle story with Mick at the end. So yeah, totally percent. I'm going to put her in Keeble's plan. Totally percent. Yep. Right. Plowing through them. Let's get through them, mate. Richie Scott, again, been in more than 10 episodes. She's just a kind of, this is meant unfairly, she's a bit of a background character. She kind of pops in, sorts out the Mitchells, pops back out again. But I wouldn't say she was basic necessarily. She's always there with a purpose, and she always has a plan. So old Richie is going to be a sausage surprise for me. And I suppose on the same kind of note, there's Keeble this year. I mean, I love the flashback episodes, which kind of explains what's going on, why Keeble's going a little bit wow with the whole situation with the Mitchells. I don't really understand I think she's got a soft spot for Phil. Let's be honest with you. There's something there. She's obsessed. She is obsessed with Phil. Let's not beat around the bush here. But it's always, every time I see a scene with Keeble, I get excited. I get kind of think, yes, here we go. This is good. And to be fair, she can't go in anywhere else. She has to go in her own plan, doesn't she? It's her plan. So Keeble goes into her own plan the same way Alfie goes into his own panto. Sam Mitchell. I love the character Sam Mitchell. I love the actress who plays this carnation of this version of Sam Mitchell. I just don't feel like they've done a lot with Sam this year, but that's fine. I'm going to put her in the Sausage Surprise because I'm sure she'll have lots to do next year, so it makes sense. Now, Felix and Finley came into the square as Mitch's. Well, we don't know quite. They're nephews to him at the moment, but there was strong suspicion that one of them might be his son. But they've not really kind of painted that picture just yet. Avery died, which is Mitch's brother. He died in like a week. That was really mad. That is that they did that storyline in like 1 week, but still. And then after they did that storyline, nothing really came of them. And their story now is that they live with Whitney and Chelsea, and they kind of come up with crazy party plans to do of a night. And so I don't mean it with any disrespect, but they've not done much more other than their introduction. So they've had their introduction. They now need to have their main story. So I'm going to put them as Better Luck Next Year, because I think they will have more to do next year. They just need to do it. Oh, no, you don't go there, cheeky monkey. Right, next is Gray. Gray is Gray. I mean, I didn't like Gray. I didn't like his character. I didn't like his story. I just kind of it was just, I just couldn't be bothered with Gray. And by the end of it, I mean, it was a good week, like his final week when he was running around the brand new set and all that. It was fine. It was good. It was, what it was. But it just felt like nothing. The whole thing just felt basic for me. And I know everyone's going to cry and moan, but I don't care. Gray was just basic. I mean, at least he wasn't Alfie's Panto, eh? Hey, he wasn't Alfie's Panto. Whitney, well, on the last two, Whitney's Whitney, isn't she? What can you say about Whitney other than it's Whitney? It's Whitney, bitch. I mean, I'm glad she's got pregnant in a weird way. I know a lot of people have been like, "Oh no, you're tying the character down to a child." I mean, but Chelsea's been tied to a character to a child. I don't think she's done that much harm to her. I'll be interested to see what she does to Zach. Essentially, poor old Zach. He's gonna be destroyed, isn't he, by Winnie? So I'm gonna put her Sausage Surprise. She was fine. She was fun. And finally, Queen Kathy, the lovely Kathy. Now, I got told off last year because I automatically put Kathy as Julia's theme, and people are like, "Well, you can't just automatically put her as Julia's theme just because she's like the longest standing character on the show now, and also it's Kathy." Well, no, you're right. I can't really do that, although I wish I could. But on this year, I'm going to be very fair. She had a few moments this year which were very lovely, and I like her relationship with Kathy, with herself, with Rocky. But I do love Kathy. She was the only one working on Boxing Day this year as well. She knows how to work it. She had the thing is with Kathy is she has big stories, like when she had money stolen, and Rocky, kind of, she disappointed Rocky because she felt like he wasn't really pulling his way, and but they just don't really do. It's kind of like a D story. They don't really give Kathy the kind of the oomph, the big story that she deserves every now and then. So there's a decision to be made. Is it Better Luck Next Year for Kathy, or is it Sausage Surprise for Kathy? I'm going to wait a few minutes and see what people say on the chat. And while you all do that, I also want you to let me know exactly what was my biggest mistake on my tier list as well. Tell me which one of these people is my biggest mistake that I've made on this tier list this year. I'll give you guys a couple of minutes just to kind of write in the comments if you have any to say what you think they would be. Just to remind you, you can make your own tier list. It's bit.ly/EE tier list 22. That's bit.ly/EE tier list 22. Pop that in your browser, and it'll pop up with the tier list, exactly the same one as I've got right here. And share them with us at Wolford Weekly on Twitter and Instagram, and we'll be sure to share them as well, so everyone can see what you guys think of the characters and in your tier list, your very own tier list. Battle Cafe, wish they gave her a really good story. A couple of people have said Better Luck Next Year. I'm inclined to agree. I think she's a Better Luck Next Year. I'm hoping they do more with Kathy. Oh, Rob, I'm surprised by that, Rob. Rob's comment saying about Gray. He had a good end. He had that 1 week that just slightly raised him above the parapet. I'm going to put Kathy in Better Luck Next Year then. That's where she's going. That's where she'll stay. And that is my tier list. There it is. That's my tier list for 2022. My character tier list for 2022. It feels really satisfying, I must say, to finish the tier list every year. It really does. What I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly pop over to, this is where things could go very wrong, so I apologize. Here we go. And just bring up, hi, Christopher. Jean Linda should be in Julia's theme. So a few of your comments there, and I might add them on. So Connor, I said Jean, Shirley, and Linda should be in Julia's theme. I don't agree with Shirley. I don't agree with Linda. Jean was very close, I'd say, Connor. But 100%, I get where you're coming from. Shirley and Linda had some fantastic scenes this year. So I completely get where you're coming from with that. 100%. I really do. So fair. Someone else agrees with Rob. Rachel, hi Rachel, said the grey is basic, should be in LP's panto. I thought people were going to be angry at me for putting him in basic. But apparently, no, further down, please, apparently. Okay. Well, I'm not going to change it. I make this a rule every year because I remember when I did my very first tier list, I looked at it after I finished recording it and I thought, do I do a few changes? Do I change things around a little bit? And I did. I remember I did an additional video and I said, oh, I've moved this one to here and I've moved this one to here. And then afterwards I thought, you know what? I wish I hadn't done that. I'm quite pleased with that. I'm quite pleased with what I've done. And there may be regrets, but then I can always clean it up next year, which I have done on every year. For what it is, I'm quite pleased with that tier list. So I'm happy with that. But I'm so glad. Thank you for. I want get in touch if you where you think things should be moved. Zach has said, you're amazing, dude. I've just thought I'd bring that up. Thank you, Zach. You're a star too. Thank you ever so much for commenting and saying that. That's really sweet and really kind. A real big up for you as well, my friend. Thank you. Marcus also says that Linda and Shirley should be in Julia's theme. Oh, thing is, I can't say that Shirley will be in Julia's theme next year because I don't think. Well, I shouldn't say that because they said that the door is still open. The door is still open for her. She can come back at any time. But I don't think that she'll ever have anything as exciting as what she's had there, to be honest with you. Linda, I know Linda was good. I'm not gonna lie, Linda was good, but I don't think. Oh, I don't know. I'm going to read out Mark's because Mark's. It's not much to do with the tier list, but I agree with you. The Grey stuff. Hi, Mark. By the way, thank you. Grey stuff really destroyed EastEnders. It went on too long. The writers really screwed it up and made the show unwatchable. They just relied so much on that Grey story, and it was like they kept putting plasters over the mistakes. They kept putting plaster over the mistake, and it was constant retconning and just getting things, trying to correct things that they got wrong, and it just showed. And it just like the so much, instead of like just scrapping it and starting again or just admitting the truth that perhaps they went the wrong direction with it, they just carried on trying to patch it over and trying to make it better. He's going to be very upset if I don't comment on here. So here you go. Hi, Rob. Rob said, I'm very proud of your Kathy placing. Thank you, Rob. I'm proud that you feel that way too. I'm very pleased as well. I think that's the right place for Kathy as well. I agree with what a few people said on the comments as well. She needs a better year next year. As much as I love her, she needs a better year next year. Comedy Miriam, that's a good question. They've made the two brothers into comedy sidekicks, and that's exactly my point. And it's weird that they've done that because they made such a big fanfare also of saying, like, introducing them as the characters when they were bringing them in. So when they introduced was Felix was like this drag queen, this very confident gay man, and it was like, oh good, we're gonna have this great character coming in. And now they've kind of made them a bit ugh. And Finley they've made into a bit of a slut. So I don't know what they're doing with him either. But yeah, I hope they do something with them. I wouldn't mind seeing them doing something together. Just do something with them. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. Rachel says she would automatically put Sharon and Kathy in Julie's theme. I did that last year, and I think I did it with Sharon the year before, and I got told off by a lot of people because I was kind of basing it on the fact that they were legends, which they are, of course. They are queens, they are icons, they are absolute legends. You cannot whisper their name without gold appearing around them. But yeah, no, 100%. Mark says Billy is part of Keeble's plan. I know what you're saying, Mark. Billy's had a good year this year, and like I say, considering like I didn't like Billy at the beginning of the year, and then when I heard that they were going to put Billy into like this very like a main role, I was so surprised, and I was really worried. And I 100% love what they've done with Billy. So yeah. Anyway, I'm not changing. I'm sorry. Even though I asked for you guys to get in touch and let me know what you think is wrong, and then I'm just going to ignore you and just keep it the way it is. I'm very sorry. But well, Rachel's come up with a good point. There should be a lower tier for Alfie alone. Alfie's Panto's reviews, worst character of the year. Quickly, because I am going to go in a few minutes. Who would you say was the absolute pits, the worst character of the year? Let's end on a high. let's do that. While we're doing that, I'll just read out a few more comments. Who would go into Panto reviews? What we got here? We got a comment here. These brothers are just the new what's her face and Habiba. 2 years of being useless before inevitably getting the axe. I think you might have a point there, Finn Cornelius. Which is a shame though, because they made this is my point, they made such a big fanfare of introducing them. Why have they now just kind of just pushed them to one side? Like, why do they make such a big deal of like their personalities and like, oh, there could be a mystery about them, and then just do that? I don't understand. I don't understand. We've had a couple of Alfies being the absolute pits for this year. Gray's the nomination for Gray, mainly Alfie. Someone says Karen. Karen is utterly dreadful and a stain on the show. Oh, James, you meanie. That's very mean. Where's Ricky? Where is Ricky? Ricky hadn't been in 10 episodes. Connor, Ricky hadn't been in 10 episodes. I think he made it to 8 or 9. But if he's in a couple of episodes next year, perhaps we'll put him in as a kind of like a crazy afterthought. So yes, sorry about that. But Ricky, if I was going to put Ricky in, I would put him as a sausage surprise because it was lovely seeing him. And I honestly, again, if they were to bring back Ricky as a character, I'd be on board with that. I'd take it. I would take it 100%. Vi is the worst character from Marcus, and Dimitri says Gray as the worst character as well. Right. Well, I think this is a good place for us to finish now. I think we've been doing this for about an hour. Thank you to everyone who's kind of stayed and watched this. Me just rambling on, talking nonsense, making up words, drinking coffee, and putting faces to categories with absolutely no strength behind it whatsoever. But thank you so much for joining me. As I say, Rob's is on its way. As soon as Rob's is done, we'll be posting it as well, and we'll be posting it on our Twitter and our Facebook group and our Instagram to let you know when it's up. Just search Wolford Weekly Podcast. We've just released a podcast today for the whole of the Christmas week. If you haven't listened to it yet, you can on any of your favorite podcast apps, or you can watch it on YouTube channel right now. Just pop over, just find our channel right now and pop on over and watch it right now. It's just us rambling on about EastEnders for an hour, and it's all good fun. Thank you again for joining us. Happy New Year to everyone. Happy Hogmanay to all my Scottish friends. Hope you have a very lucky, prosperous, and exciting 2023, and we will see you next year. Bye then, everyone. Bye.